Welcome r/Nuclearrevenge. Scumbag of a brother did everything to ruin my life, such as saying it was my fault my parents died, suing me non-stop, etc. It did not work out well for him. This is my first, and probably last post ever, but I need to get this off my chest. Only the people who were involved in court know about this, but most of them are already dead or sick. This is why I never talked about this with anyone, since it happened 12 years ago. Before I start, I need to clarify some stuff. I'm from Germany, so I'm sorry for any mistakes. The school system is like this. Elementary school is from 1st to 4th grade, followed by middle school, and high school altogether from 5th to 13th grade, and finally college or university. Since I got into middle school, I had a goal. I wanted to move to a foreign country and get a nice job there. After studying something like business management, I set the bar very high because I grew up in a family of drug addicts, dealers and abusive parents and brother. Because I had this goal, I always put pressure on myself unintentionally. I got to middle school by the age of 9, which was a year earlier than everyone. I got to school earlier since I could already read and write in kindergarten. By the age of 12, I had learned 3 new languages. English to an extent where I could easily talk to Americans and Brits, Japanese like a local elementary student, and Spanish, so I could also kinda talk to Spanish people. Fast forward to 13th grade. My life was hell throughout school, since I got beatings at home for not being able to sell and cook drugs, and barely had any friends because of my clothes that always had holes in them. Even though I was close to suicidal, I never gave up on my goal and had only A's since 5th grade. I barely ever got B's. I had finished high school with a GPA of 4.0. Not sure if that's correct, I just know that I had the best possible GPA. I don't know how to convert a German GPA to an American GPA. I had finished university and studied business management. At this point, my parents had both died of a drug overdose, and the only person I pretty much knew was my brother, who was still an asshole. I never really talked to him. I just knew that he had done something with sports in his career. Everything went like I always dreamed, except for the foreign country part. With 30, I had a wife and 2 kids, average income, and all in all an average life. I never was really happy with that because of the high expectations I had of myself. I tried to accept it, but I always felt like I threw my potential away. I fell into a deep depression when I was 33. My wife left me because of it and took the kids with her. And here I was again, alone, depressed, suicidal. The only person I knew and was comfortable with calling was my brother, who I hadn't seen for a few years. I thought he became a down-to-earth guy because on the phone he genuinely sounded like he was trying to help me. I was in debt, so I had to sell my car and take a train to the town where he lived. When I finally got there, he still seemed like he was trying to be helpful. He even offered me money, which I didn't want to accept. He took me into his place, which was surprisingly big. How did he get such a big house? He never did anything for school. He had always been an asshole, and all he did was think of sports and spend time with his friends doing drugs. I couldn't get that question out of my head, so I just had to ask him. The answer I got was with hard work, of course. Hard work. He never did anything, and I knew he hadn't done anything since I had last seen him. To confirm this, I asked his wife, to which she said that he was just lucky. He had won the lottery. He won 2.7 million euros and did some lucky investments. A lazy, abusive piece of shit had more money and a better life than me. I couldn't get over this, but since he was being nice and let me stay at his place, I didn't mention it. After 3 months of staying at his place, he offered me a place in his company. I didn't know anything about his company and about this line of work. Keep in mind that I was still depressed and desperate. I accepted the offer, and he intentionally gave me a task in his company that was extremely hard to complete, and the other workers warned me, but I didn't listen. I had fucked up. I destroyed a machine that would cost around 150k to replace. I tried to explain to him that I couldn't give him the money because I was in department. He sued me and he won. My depression sucked me in a deep dark hole further and further. After a suicide attempt I got sent to a mental health clinic and I spent a little over a year there. I was 35 when I got out. My depression wasn't gone, but they decided that I wasn't trying to kill myself anymore. The first person I saw when I got out was my brother. He was waiting in the entrance area and the first words he said to me were, "Can't get a decent job, can't get the wife to stay, and can't even kill yourself. What can you do?" I was furious. I couldn't hold back, and I punched him in the face as hard as I could, and broke his jaw, and when he fell on the ground he lost a tooth. Can you guess what happened again? Right, I got sued again. And he won again. I couldn't pay for the medical bills, so I got a loan. Everything seemed okay until I turned 38. I had paid off the loan, but was still in department. I was relatively happy with life at this point until the day everything was ruined again. My brother decided to pay me a visit. He greeted me with the words, "You thought I would let you off with the medical bills. You probably knew, but everything I did for you was just a plan to make you kill yourself. You were the reason mom and dad died roughly." Of course I can't remember his words exactly. Excuse me? I was the reason? They were drug addicts and I didn't want to have anything to do with them. I said something like, "This will not end well if you don't leave me alone. You already ruined everything for me. Isn't that enough?" He told me that he would not leave me alone until I would kill myself. He brought my kids up again, and my wife and everything that had failed. I had lost it and started to beat him. I beat him for about 5 minutes when I realized that I had done something terrible. He was laying in a pool of blood and I panicked. I called the cops on myself, and a few weeks later the court decided what my punishment would be. Since I gave myself up to the cops, my time got reduced from original 13 years to 10. They knew that I was probably going to kill myself as soon as I got into prison. They put me in a cell that was supervised 24/7, so I couldn't even try. These 10 years opened my eyes. I had been an selfish asshole to my wife and kids and always thought about my stupid career. I was the reason all of this had happened. I was the reason my wife left me and my life seemed worthless. As soon as I got out I started to search for a job, and even though I had been to prison I found a job soon. It has now been 2 years since I got out, and I'm the happiest I have ever been. I do not regret killing my brother one single bit. Not only did I help myself with it, but also his wife who got his money and everyone he had oppressed and assaulted over the past few years. His wife was happy he wasn't there anymore because he was beating her constantly. I have a below average income, but a loving girlfriend who knows I was in prison, but doesn't know the circumstances. I live in a small cozy apartment and I'm happy to live my new life. Edit. I got a lot more comments than I expected. Thank you for all the kind words. Even though there are some people who don't believe it, I can completely understand that. I'll try to answer most comments, but I'm a busy man since I work 10 to 12-hour shifts. I hope you understand. I also take back what I said about this being my last post. I really enjoyed looking at your comments and will maybe share some stories in other categories. Edit 2. I just read the message thing, so thank you so much to whoever gave me these medals. I really do appreciate it, since I think that means you like my story. No, it's not a different country, he lives in Germany too. He edited it, as do I, but I think it might be due to the fact that it was in the past. As of this time elementary school is from 1st 6th grade, except you are brilliant then you can go to a gymnasium after 4th grade and there are only 12 grades now. Some schools have exceptions and still have 13 school years, but you don't have to do 11th till 13th 12th grade. I have my doubts about this story. It would be good to have a year when this happened, but it's plausible, and I know that the privacy could suffer if he gives a date, because you can Google it, and there will be names. Oh come on, op, can you please translate this discussion? And also listen to some bands. They have changed a lot. Look at the Chainsmokers, the Beatles or even the Linkin Park. Even if the Skillet aren't that bad at all, listen to Awake and Alive if you can, or even Comatose, you will enjoy it. If you like some rock music, if you want something chiller I suggest you to listen to Chilled Lofi music. It relaxes the hell out of you. And also try to listen to Oscar Schuster. He makes awesome music. I suggest FJARLAGR as a beginning, or just in case you can lose yourself in 1000-foot crutch be somebody. It's pretty good MAO man. I really wrote down something. Anyway, as a lover of anime, I suggest you to go on Kiss Anime and watch Evangelion /D or whatever. It is awesome. Be careful to the redirects and the ads. They are a little bit pushed, if you get what I'm saying. Anyway, have a good life, and listen to some music for me, since I'm officially deaf AF. I want to believe this, but there is one part one find it hard to believe. I'm from Germany, and working as electrical engineer. I know that, if I unintentionally broke a machine, even if it is something that costing the company millions, I won't got sued over it. Most probably fired, but not sued. And while I've never made the mistake myself, other friends who are in engineering also have done just that. One guy got reprimanded, but not even fired. I can. As I mentioned, my family was a big deal in the drug dealing business in my city. They basically controlled most of it, but wasted their entire money on more drugs. My brother always helped them cook and sell the drugs. He was their favorite because he did almost everything they asked for. They always told him stuff like, "What would I do without you?" etc. So basically my brother thought, because I never supported their bad life decisions and didn't show them enough support, they weren't strong enough to survive. When I was still living with them, he often said stuff like, "You really need to help us if you want us all to live. You expect your dreams to help mom and dad anytime soon." I never knew how to respond to that. We have kindergarten, which is not a school. This institution prepares for school. School starts when you are 6/7. They tried to get younglings in school when they were 5 a few years ago, but it didn't work out. Then we have 10 years of required school, so till the 10th grade, everything else is encouraged, but you don't need to do it. Also, there are only 12 grades till 2012. Only some schools have exceptions and can do 13. Also, if you did a grade twice, that still counts towards your 10 years, so you can graduate after 9th grade and do an apprenticeship. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you would like to see more, feel free to subscribe.